Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Bell. It is Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, to 60 seconds after the bell, which means it's time to go beyond the charts, beyond the news, beyond the bell. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you draw down Mike, Henrique, Tiana, Marcos. Love the bells in the chat. Chris, nice to see you as always. So guys, this is Beyond the Bell Post-Market Wrap Show. We are brought to you by our good friends over at the Blue Sky Trading Company for the clearest path to a live brokerage account. Live trading with Mike every day in the Discord. And this outstanding show, you don't need your content, you don't need your accounts, you don't need your money any place other than Blue Sky. So thank you for tuning in, guys. So, Rocco, I'm Matt. Mike is the trader in the Discord. Where's the cowboy hat? Nice dude. So go check him out if you haven't already. But easily confused. Our names start with M. We're both great traders. I understand. I think he's got a lot more hair than I do, though. So that's probably what's going on. Go, brother. Nice to see you as always. Oh, no worries. Right? Hey, it's all good. Don't worry about it. That's you know. As long as my girlfriend remembers my name, I guess the rest isn't really all that important, right? So, guys, let's jump right into it here. I could go off and make jokes and be funny for a while, but let's just go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and look at the big picture. So today, guys, very tradable day today. Starting here with the ES, we've really been hovering between the 52.50 and about the 52.70 level for, again, the last couple of sessions. And again, what's interesting about this chart, and we're going to look at the NQ momentarily as well. Look at all the candles, shadows, wick, and again, this is a 4-hour chart, so a lot of time and price went into this. And again, what does all this mean together, right? It's a market that just doesn't have any conviction one direction or the other. In fact, you look earlier today, guys, we were headed for our nastiest candle since this one right here, right? We were down here. I thought we were going to break through 5,200 here. We just never got there, right? Instead, we get a long buying tail, and we're now pushing all the way above this zone as we moved into the afternoon, right? Let's take a look at what this looks like on the NQ, because I think the NQ shows a little clearer picture of the fact that we're just really sort of trapped. We're in a zone within a zone right now, right? If we were to zoom out a lot here, you can see we've got this big area. We're basically been in this kind of zone between 18,700 and about 18,000 for really a close to a month and a half now. Now, the good news is we've gotten a lot of good movement within this zone, right? And we talked on this show how we were kind of slowly declining, little bit of a downward trend before we just crapped right out of this on the movement last week, right? And then since then, similar situation. Look at all these buying tails, selling tails, shadows, candles, wick. Again, I could outline them all, guys, but what is it? It's you guys, we've all seen the shruggy guy emoji, right? Or you can't really see it on the, but it's you guys, and that's really what the markets are doing. Now, this makes a lot of sense, right? When we look at we're technical traders, we're looking at the price action, we're looking at chart levels, et cetera, et cetera. However, we also are paying attention to, we don't necessarily care what the fundamentals are, but we do want to know when they're affecting the markets. And we have CPI tomorrow. In fact, let's pull this up. I love this little feature, new feature on TradingView here, guys. So let's go ahead and pull up. So tomorrow at 7:30 Central Time. So this is on Central Time. So 8:30. Eastern, we have CPI an hour before the markets open. Okay, so we're talking about consumer price index. We're talking about inflation. We have our inflation rate month over month, year over year. Things that are going to be the markets are going to be paying very close attention to. And then we come in on Thursday. We have our producer price index, right? So we have the consumers, the producers. We got again PPI. We've got inflation, and this is of course going to. Oh, thank you, Go Brother. That's man. Kind of dating yourself with that song, man. Though that was Smack That. It was college for me, I think. So we're talking, gosh, When you consider Eminem's like probably just a couple years away from being grandpa, that kind of tells you all you need to know about that era of music, huh? But anyway, but I digress. So anyway, guys, but yes, do make sure you smack that like button, just like Akon and Eminem, and we'll keep it PG, maybe a little PG-13 in this show. Hey, go, brother. Next time we talk, man, that's you got me. This show jumped the shark, and I'm blaming you. So, which I'm sure somehow in a roundabout way we can blame on Raj, since I don't think he's here today. So we'll put that on him. But anyway, if we get to the 5-minute chart here, guys, the good news is there were plenty of opportunities, right? Some really good movement in the markets today. So much so I got to kind of scrunch it up. But again, this was a lot like a couple of days we saw 2 weeks ago, right? So we've got the opens back over here. But shortly after the open, a big move down. And as we moved into the close, a big move up. Now, in between here, meh. You know, I mean, there's some movement. Our ATR stayed above where I would consider it for trading. So not a horrible day, right? Not a yeah, I mean, a good opportunity. Now, so I'm sure you're asking, Matt, how did your trades go today? How much money did you make? Didn't take a single trade today. Let me tell you why. So the fine folks at Xfinity/Comcast/ we have to change our company name every few years because our customer service is so freaking abysmal. I have a rule in my trading, guys. And listen, it's, broadband internet. It's occasionally you have, a disruption in this or a disruption in that, right? It happens sometimes. We've all been watching a show. Everything blinks out for 10 seconds, comes back on. Part of that is normal. But this morning I had extended outages for anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes about 4 times in an hour. Okay, I have a rule. I give the market, or not the markets, I give the internet like one chance to blink, right? So it blinks, all my charts have to reload, that's fine. The next time that happens, guys, as harsh as this sounds, the next time that happens, and especially after a multi-minute outage, I shut down trading for the day. I had a friend, this is a true story, I had a friend about 6 years ago. No, not that long. Probably about 4 years ago. It was a little before the pandemic. I was working for TradeStation at the time. And he had an open position, and his power went out. Okay, now this is power. This is not crystal clear day. Just apparently they were doing, he found out later they were doing utility work up the way and didn't let anyone know the power is going to be out for going on 4 hours. So now he lives, he lives in a suburban type area, but it's a little further out from the city than I am. And so he doesn't have the best cell service. So he entered a position, and again, this is one reason I always manually put a stop loss into the markets, right? So he entered a position, and he's a great trader, very good at what he does, and his power went out. Okay, and I'm not going to name brokerages. I'm not going to name and shame or anything like that. But the brokerage he happened to be working with did not really have the best customer service in terms of getting hold of a trade desk. Right. Most brokerages, they'll have what's called a trade desk, which for this specific reason, or if there's an emergency, or if I actually had it happen to me many years ago. My screen was showing me 2 different things, so I had to call and get it all straightened out. But in theory, especially when you have, as this gentleman did, about $500,000 in their brokerage account, you should be able to get somebody on the phone fairly quickly if there's an issue. Took him almost an hour and a half. First of all, he had to go somewhere where he had cell service, and then it took an hour and a half to get a hold of everybody. It took 2 transfers to figure the whole thing out. By the time he finally closed the position, he was down $17,000, and there was nothing he could do about it. Right, the brokers, it wasn't an error on their part, so they're not going to make that, and they have no obligation to make it right. He actually, looked into asking for reimbursements from the company that didn't let him know the power was going to be out. But I mean, what are you going to do there? Power facilities are controlled monopolies in this country, so there's really nothing he could do. What is he going to do? Sue a multi-billion-dollar company? No, for $17,000. They didn't even apologize. They just said, yeah, we had work scheduled for that day, and yeah. Anyway, so I have that rule. That if everything, it's not necessarily a power issue for me, but if the internet winks out, and actually the second time it winked out, even when it came back on, I saw 2 Xfinity trucks screaming down the street a little while ago. So at that point for me, you just found the calendar button, Mike? Come on, man. I tell people you're smart, Mike. So you gotta work with me on this. Take off flying to good cell service and liquidate. Yeah, and that was I mean, this, obviously, like, gosh, when was this? No, this was only 4 or 5 years ago. So he should have, again, my brokerage account is I have a 24-hour trade desk with Edge Pro and these guys. They do I've only had to use them once, and it was a good experience. But unfortunately, like a lot of things, guys, that's something that's really, really slipped. Right there is, when I used to have an account with TradeStation, right? They used to be able to call and get somebody, if you had a customer service issue, usually you'd get somebody on the phone within 30 minutes. Now, if you go to their customer service, you can't call them. You have to sign up for them to call you, and by 10 a.m., their spots for the day are done. So it can take, somebody I know that took 3 days to get a call back for an account issue. It didn't cost them any money, but they couldn't trade during that time. So, again, it's like customer service and rates and inflation in a lot of other areas. It's getting worse before it gets better. I know there's been some other brokerages that have had some issues as well. It's one reason, guys, I like to say, with a little smaller companies, still capable, but it's a little easier to get somebody on the phone for a company with 100,000 customers as opposed to one with 20 million, right? So, again, just kind of keep that in mind as far as, that's a rule. Like, I have a lot of guidelines, but for me, that's a rule. So anyway, guys, this is an interactive show, and before I go too far off the rails, or Gold Brother makes me laugh again, we need to turn it over to you guys for questions. Let's go to the mailbag. I don't really have anything to catch up on, but I do want to. First of all, guys, in the chat, let me know who was green, who was red today. R.I.P. Who are we R.I.P.ing? Red? Okay, that's all right. No stop loss order? Well, yeah, so James, this particular gentleman, friend of mine, he managed all his trades manually. And I do as well. But the very first thing, and you guys have heard me say this on this show before, one of the very first things I do as soon as I enter a position is I will put a stop loss order into the market, right? And I have confirmed through my broker, if I put this stop market, stop loss, so basically a stop market order in, does that stay on my computer, or does that go to your guys' servers? And they assure me it goes to their servers. So if my power goes out, at least I know I have a stop loss. And I do typically set at least a first step profit target. So in theory, if I'm at least given the time to set those orders, which usually takes me about 10 to 20 seconds after I enter the order, the power can go out and I'll be okay. I mean, I'm still going to go somewhere and liquidate my positions, right? But I'm not, I'd feel, I have a Starbucks down the road from me. I'd go take my laptop there and just liquidate the positions then. I wouldn't need to make any phone calls, okay? The only situation I would get in where I would need to immediately get out of a position is, like I said, if I enter a position and I had that 10 to 20 seconds that it takes me to, scroll down on the dome and set my stop loss, if the power or the internet were to go off between those and does not come right back on, then yes, then I need to make a phone call and go from there. So, all right, three trades, 2 losses, 1 win, small red. Okay, well, that actually, DS, that's good. If 2 of your 3 traders were losers and you're just slightly red, that means hopefully, and again, I'm just saying this without any knowledge of how you trade. Hopefully, if you're neither of your losers ate up your winner, right? Maybe the 2 of them together obviously did. But let's say you were plus $400, minus $200, and minus $250. Well, technically you'd be small red there, but your winning trade is the biggest of the 3. So then all we got to do is work on, maybe cutting out one of those losers or taking an additional winner. But if you have a 50% winning percentage, you should be seeing pretty significant profits. Otherwise, you really need to examine your strategy and how you trade, et cetera, et cetera. Marco says, I hit my 30% consistency on who? On what? I'm sorry, we don't allow those 4-letter words in this. Come on, man. Get into a company that gives you a live brokerage account. No, we're not disparaging anybody here, Moroccan. We don't do that. It's very. This is competition 101. I'm not going to tell you what the competition, or I'm not going to tell you what they're doing wrong. I'm going to tell you what Blue Sky is doing right. Again, guys, you've heard especially if you're in the, I've never traded crypto before, but I do have some friends that have gotten, they don't trade it, but they're very into it. And that old phrase, not your keys, not your coin, right? If you don't have your coin stored locally and not, on one of these, like the guy that just, the FTX, the guy that just got sentenced all that time in prison, people thought they had things in their account that they really didn't have, right? It's the same principle in funded trading accounts, guys. If it's not a brokerage account, it's not your money. Right? Think about that. I mean, no, seriously, just for a second, guys. I'm not going to hammer on, I'm not naming any company by name, but think about this. Think about you're running a futures trading firm, a prop firm, okay? And you decide you don't want to put clients into real money, so you do it on the live sim. And then let's say a couple come along and they do very, very well, okay? You've got to pay those people out of your pocket instead of out of a real brokerage account. Okay, so again, I can't emphasize this enough, guys, and especially because Blue Sky, most of their fees are up front. They don't have a setup account fee. I can tell you, I know this for a fact because I've talked to other people in the industry outside of Blue Sky. One of the big drivers of profit for some of these other companies is the setup fees, right? They'll charge you $50 for an evaluation. You pass it, and then they want either something per month or $150 or $180 to set up a sim account. So that's just they don't even use that money. That's a fee. That's not you're not other than a data fee. Yeah, it's just, yeah. And honestly, think about again, guys, what is an evaluation supposed to do, right? Like, what is the goal of an evaluation? You're proving to yourself first and foremost, but also to, in this case, Blue Sky, that you can trade within a certain set of rules. Okay, that you can, do your consistency, you can do those types of things, and once you prove that, and obviously in Blue Sky, they have that intermediate step that they call Blue Live before they put you in a live brokerage account. But at that point, once you've passed the evaluation, there's no more consistency rules, right? So I happen to 100%. In fact, they'll never put me in charge of creating an account because I'll have some ridiculous consistency rules. You think 30% is bad? I'd put it at like 10%. I'd make you prove you can trade for 2, 3, 4 weeks without getting blown out of the account, right? But once you get it, it's ridiculous that once you've followed those rules and you've completed that eval, that you go into a situation where you go into a funded account, air quotes, I don't know if you can see that, and you immediately do it with handcuffs on, right? So, the evaluation is at least in a very limited environment to prove that you know what you're doing and that you can trade. So, yeah, it's something. Heinrich, that's a question for technical support, but I don't believe so because again, they're just a prop firm. They don't host like trades on their website. They don't, I know there's other companies out there that have their own platform, and I've demoed a couple of them, and quite honestly, they're complete garbage. I like to use TradingView. Why do I want to use a stripped down version of TradingView that doesn't have all the features that TradingView has? Especially because TradingView costs like $200 or $300 a year. I hit their guys. If you're like me and you like TradingView, wait for their Black Friday sale. I think I bought 2 years worth this year. I have like a subscription for like another 3 or 4 years or something like that. I basically banked as many credits as they would give me. So, yeah. And guys, it's easy to crack on other companies and stuff like that. And that's why I'm not naming any names or anything like that. And it's just, at the end of the day, your goal is to forget evals, forget rules, forget all that stuff. What is your goal? What is your number one goal in beginning the process with Blue Sky, right? Or any prop firm? The number one goal is to get into a situation where you can consistently withdraw money from your funded account. Okay, so if that's the end goal, why are you going to go with somebody who's going to make that really difficult? Honestly, that and I understand, guys. It's sometimes things are this company's really really cheap or this or that. Guys, I promise you, the juice is not worth the squeeze with those situations. Again, from somebody who's been, granted, I'm fairly new to the prop firm game, only really been, paying a lot of attention to it for the last couple of years. But as somebody who's been in and around the business, I've worked for major brokerages, guys. I've worked for tiny little boutique education. I work, with these guys at Blue Sky, run my own company now. I've been, for my age, fairly, 41 is a baby in this industry, guys. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. I get along great with people, so I have a lot of conversations. I'm close to Chicago, which is, basically like New York for futures, right? With the old trading pits and all that, even though those don't run anymore. I always want to keep the big picture in mind. And I think when people, are so caught up in paying just a few dollars less for an eval and not caring if they have to pay a hefty setup fee or, all that stuff down the line, I think you lose track of the big picture, guys, right? And it's no different than the markets, right? Why do I come on here every day and the first chart we look at is the 4-hour chart, right? Because as much as we want to be down in the weeds and actively, sometimes we've got to take that 10,000 foot view. We have to keep the big picture in mind, because when we keep the big picture in mind in our trading, in our business, in our life, it informs everything else that we do. Okay. Whew. Yeah, that was a lot. Thanks for one person makes an offhanded comment in the chat and I get 10 minutes out of it. So I appreciate whoever that was. But yeah, in all seriousness, don't bring up other companies in the chat, guys. You get one more. No, I'm kidding. Again, I can. If you guys want to know what I think about a company, ask me off air, and I'll tell you, because honestly, that's how I found the Blue Sky guys. I've told this story a couple of times. I was looking into these companies because I had a couple clients that I was doing individual coaching with ask me about them. I'd heard of them, but I hadn't looked deep into it. I connected with the Blue Sky guys on LinkedIn. Next thing you know, I'm doing events for them. Now we're doing this show together, and I really enjoy it. They honestly, guys, they give a crap about the education side of things. They run a live trading room in the Discord for free. You get this show on the YouTube page for free. Literally hours every single day of honest to goodness trading education at no cost to you. Guys, most people in here, I'm sure, are not actually Blue Sky clients. I encourage you to become one, but we don't check that. We don't put this behind a paywall, right? And guys, there's other ideas in the pipeline right now that we're talking about that will help you guys become better traders, right? That's every conversation I've had with guys like Josh and Raj and some of the behind the scenes team. It's like, okay, what can we do to help our traders be successful? Okay, the other companies aren't asking that question. If they have to pay you out of pocket, do you think they want you to be successful? No, they want you paying enough setup fees to offset whatever you're eventually going to take out. So, end of rant. All right, guys. So I got a few more minutes here for any questions for anybody has. I'm sorry for that huge aside there, but I have the same rant with education, guys. There's just so much bad education out there, right? And it's very frustrating for me as an educator to see all the education out there and how poor it is. And that doesn't mean I'm not calling person A or person B, saying they're good or they're bad or they're a scam or any crap like that. I've worked with some fantastic trading coaches who may actually not be the best traders themselves, but are very good at just, breaking things down and describing things and talking through the markets, right? And then I've worked with some of the best traders I've met and worked alongside my entire life, guys. Unfortunately, they just don't have a teacher's mentality, and they can't really explain things very well or very succinctly, and that becomes a big issue. So again, always, in any situation, try to look at the big picture and do what's best for you at that particular point. Always the first day jitters on Blue Live. Yeah, somebody says was 1K down on my Blue Live, ended up 400. Really, am I beating myself up on that? Okay, so Tyler, let me just say this, okay? And I know I'm on a little bit of a delay, so I don't want to go back and forth on you, but let me just say this. I care that whether you're green or red. I hope you're green. I hope you're doing very, very well. But at the end of the day, the only question you need to ask yourself is, did I take trades according to my setups, and did I manage them according to my rules? If you did that, I don't care if you were green or red. You had it. It was a good trading day, right? Now, yes, it sucks at the end of the day when you're red. I didn't make a trade today because of my internet issues, and I'm pretty pissed off about it, because there were 2 or 3 trades I definitely would have taken that would have made me some money today. But you know what? That is what it is. Markets will be open tomorrow. Markets will be open in an hour, right? I mean, I don't trade the after session, but yeah, did you follow your setups, and did you manage those setups according to your rules? If you're just flying in and out of trades without a whole lot of rhyme or reason, that's gonna catch up with you. Okay, but I've had $1,000 losing days. I've had $1,000 losing trades. Thankfully, not a ton of either anymore, but it still happens. And so you have to be able to just say, all right, Any trade, guys, any single trade. This is one of the hardest things when I'm teaching newer traders, especially. Not every trade that makes you money is a good trade, and not every trade that loses you money is a bad trade. Any trade where you follow your setup and a setup that you've put together or learned from somebody like me or Mike or whatever the case may be, and it's a setup that has an edge, a definable, quantifiable performance edge. Anytime you're doing that and you're trading those setups and you're following your rules, it's a good trade. Any trade where you don't follow rules, you buy just because you think it's going to go up without any rhyme or reason or any sort of plan, or sell or short, whatever, that's a bad trade. I don't care how much money it makes you. Okay? They were, but just kept getting stopped out. Okay. Yeah, 4 to 8 ticks. That's a tight stop loss, though, Tyler. I mean, again, if you have a track record, you've been doing this for a while, and you're having success, I'm not going to tell you how to manage your trades. But if I'm trading the NQ, I have to have at least a 10 to 12, more likely a 15 handle, not ticks, handle room for that trade, right? Because if the ATR is 30 and I'm like having a 3-handle stop loss, I'm going to get stopped out of that trade almost every time. So 40 ticks for the NQ. Okay. I mean, that's 10 handles. That's still a little tight, to be perfectly. Keep in mind, guys, 40 ticks or 10 handles, that's a rounding error in the NQ. So I like to say the market maker sneezes and the NQ jumps 30 points. So just, again, I encourage you to look into the ATR. I've talked about that on the show today. Maybe we'll get into that tomorrow or Thursday. So, yeah, it's tight. Just, again, got to have it. It needs to be a quantifiable edge. To even begin to talk about a quantifiable edge, guys, I tell people I need to see at least 500 trades, right? And preferably not 500 trades in 2 or 3 days like some of you guys do. I know you're out there. I know you are. So, yeah. Whew. All right, guys. So a lot of stuff we got into on today's show. So we are now moving into Wednesday. And obviously that puts us just a couple days away from Thursday. We all know what happens on this show on Thursdays. So I do want to thank everyone for tuning in for today's show. We literally got to nothing I planned beyond the market stuff, but that's okay. Again, this is a live interactive show. I want to give a special shout out to those of you that watch this show on delay, right? Whether you're in another time zone or your work doesn't allow you to, or family obligations, picking up the kids, whatever the case may be. It seems like overnight, a lot of times our viewership doubles sometimes. So, or we get those extra 50, 60 views at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night. And, I don't care if you watch us live or on delay. If you've made this show part of your day-to-day routine, I appreciate you, and I hope you're getting something out of it. Obviously, if you keep coming back, you are. Keep in mind, guys, for any questions that you want to see answered on the show, reach out to me, Trader Matt, on Discord. You are free to direct message me. I don't, disclaimer, I never cold message anybody asking for account information or any BS like that. You can also email me, matt@tiresiastrading.com. That's TIRESIAS trading.com. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Beyond the Bell. I will be back tomorrow. Same Matt time, same Matt channel. And I wish you a green day tomorrow. Be careful. Hour before the market opens, we've got some major economic data for the next couple of days. So let's hope we still have some opportunities, and let's hope the markets really decide for a nice big move up or nice big move down. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.